All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Stamp with Shel. My name is Shel Anderson, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator located in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. I do short lunch break with Shel video tutorials Tuesdays and Thursdays at noon Central Standard Time, and I also do Facebook Lives or YouTube Lives on Wednesday nights at 6:30. Today we are going to be having a play with a really cool fun fold that I just learned. I attended a retreat on the weekend, and this is called a Gatefold surprise. So I wanted to teach you how to do this because I thought it was really super cool. This was taught by Anne-Marie Heil, and I just wanted to share this card with you. Now, the supplies that you're going to need for today, there are quite a few, and it looks and sounds complicated, but we're going to work through it together, and you'll see that it's very easy. I'm not using any stamps except for a greeting, and I haven't even chosen that one yet. I am going to be using the Dainty Flowers Designer Series paper. This is a free celebration paper, and the different prints are shown here in small scale. And I'm also going to be using layering circles dies, stitched rectangle dies, and the color and contour dies. So I have created a little graphic for you. This is called a Gatefold surprise, and this is just the template that I made. So this is how our card is going to open up. It's going to have a pop-up in the center. And you'll see here that this piece of cardstock is 11 inches across the top by 5.5. And we're going to score it at 2 3 3/4. Then we're going to flip it and we're going to score it at 2 3 3/4. Pardon me. Then we are going to put a pencil line at the 5.5 inch mark. And we are going to put pencil lines on these 3 3/4 inch scores up 1 inch from the bottom and down 1 inch from the top. Then we're going to score from the center point to the mark, and from the mark out to this 2 inch score line in all 4 positions. Okay, I know it looks a little ominous, but we're going to do it together. And I have chosen just plain basic white for my card today. So we are going to do just exactly as that template says. We are going to score it at 2 inches. Then we're going to slide it over and score it at 3 3/4. We're going to flip it and do the same thing again. 2 inches and 3 3/4. Now it tells us to slide it over to 5.5 and to put a pencil mark. So I'm just going to use my track and put a pencil mark down there. Now that doesn't have to be perfectly straight, to be honest. It does need to be perfectly straight, our marks that we make on our 3 inch lines. So I know this is hard for you to see, but I am measuring in 1 inch and making a pencil mark. And I'm measuring in 1 inch and making a pencil mark. And here as well. One inch and 1 inch. All right, now I am going to grab a Stampin' Pierce mat. Now you could try to do this in your paper trimmer if you wanted, but I am not going to do that. I am going to use my Stampin' Pierce mat. Now, here is our score line here. So I need to go from that score line to that pencil mark. Ooh, and I have something on my bone folder. Oh, lovely. Leave it to me. And from that tick mark to that outside edge. On both sides. You could use a stylus if you like, but I find I have a tendency to push too hard. I tried that on my sample and I actually poked right through it. So my suggestion is a clean bone folder. And one more triangle to go. There we go. Now, let me grab, I have a little sand eraser here, see if I can remove that mark. And while I'm at it, I'm going to remove those tick marks and that center line, because we were just using that as a guide. All right. There we go. Now I need to bring in my bone folder again. You can take this mat away. And this is the middle of our card. I know this is really hard for you guys to see. This is going to fold towards the middle, and this is going to fold back. Okay? And if you just give a wee little push, I'll just bring the sample back in. You see how those fold in? If you just give a wee little push to these templates, they will, maybe I didn't push quite hard enough, they will fold right in. You just need to work those corners just a little bit to give it a wee little push. Just work those scores with your finger. And they will fold right in. And one hint here is to use the thinnest cardstock. Okay, you don't want the thickest cardstock that you can find. And whether you realize it or not, some of our cardstocks have a thicker weight to them. So just give that a little bit of consideration when you are choosing which cardstock you're using. And I'm just using my finger to work those score lines. So this one goes back and this one goes forward. And if we pop these as we go, it should fold right in there. There we go. That one doesn't want to go. There we go. So fold them right in and give it a good press. there is our pop-up surprise. Okay, so that's our card base. Now all we need to do is decorate it, and we can decorate this in whatever way we desire. I have chosen some of the Dainty Delight DSP for the front of my card, and I'm just going to close my card and see how I want it. Do I want it that way or that way? Oh, I think purple on each side is how I want it. So we are going to bring in our adhesive, and I have matte layers down here, and we will just slide this in place. And my other one, I'm trying something new with my audio today. I would really appreciate it if you could leave a comment. If you have heard my videos in the past, if you could leave a comment as to whether you think the audio for this video is better than previous videos, worse, or about the same. I would just like your opinion. We're always trying to improve. All right, so these are going to go on those front panels. I'm almost out of glue. I think I am out of glue. We are done. Let's grab another bottle. All right. I'll lay this flat, and I'm going to pop this in this panel. Just center that up and give it a minute. Sorry, I was off camera there. Hard for me to be looking in a million places at once. Looking at my card and looking at an iPad and a computer and a cell phone. All right, there is our second panel. And that Tombow just gives me a little wee moment of wiggle room. Isn't that pretty? Love it. All right, for the inside of my card, I have chosen Mossy Meadow, and I got that color right out of the paper, and that's going to fit right in the center there. But also, I have chosen the scallop contour dies to cut out my matte layer, and I like this because it's kind of fancy, right? It's not just plain Jane. So we will get this adhered to the inside. And there's just enough room on the inside of these points for this to fall in there. Isn't that pretty? Okay, now I had these panels for here, but as you can see, I cut them too small. So that's not very smart. Let's grab another. Let me see if I can find that pattern. Well, sir, every pattern but. How is that possible? Oh, there it is. I was looking on the wrong side. All right, now let's get our ruler in here and measure this. This needs to be 1 3/4 5/8. No, yeah, 1 5/8 by 5 1/4. 1 5/8 by 5 1/4. So let's do 5 1/4 first. And 1 5/8. 1 1/2, 1 5/8. 1 1/2, 1 5/8. These should work much better. All right, let's dry fit these. Yes, much better. Ooh, that's kind of pretty too. I think I'm going to stick with the neutral though. And I'm going to be generous with the adhesive on this because this is going to fold. And I'm just centering that in this panel. Give that a minute to dry. I'll do the same on the other side. Center it in the middle of the panel. Pop it up. All right. Now, when this folds up, these are going to have to fold. So the first time we fold it, we're going to use our bone folder and help that DSP. There we go. That's one side. Let's do this other side. There we go. All right. So far, so good. Check that out. Isn't that pretty? All right. Now, I am going to bring in a piece of cardstock, and I've chosen the same Blackberry Bliss that I used for the matte layers. And this is 9 by 1. It can be whatever width you want, but I chose 9 by 1. And you'll notice that mine has a little patch on here because I got this out of my scrap bin. And it wasn't quite long enough, and you're not going to see that anyway. All right, so when I do my belly bands, I bring the seam to the front. So to start, I am going to fold this one over, and I'm going to crease that. Okay, and then I'm not going to score the other one. I am just going to, I'm going to bring this up close so you can see it. I'm just going to slide this out just a titch so that it's not going to be tight. Then I'll hold that in place and bring this one over to it. Okay, and that way that will ensure, if I hold this in place, you can see there's play back and forth. So that will ensure that when this is closed, I'll be able to get the belly band off and on my card easily. There's nothing worse than having to wrestle trying to get your belly band to work. All right, and we're just going to put adhesive and hold that in place for a minute. Pardon me. All right, all right, all right. Now, we're going to slide this on our card. Give this another burnish. because this is a thick card, my friends. Oops. Bring that seam to the front because we're going to cover that up with our focal image. And speaking of focal images, I have chosen, actually I haven't chosen, I have die cut 2 scallop circles in Blackberry Bliss, and I have a standard circle out of the DSP. And I just chose one that had a little bit of interest to it. You can do whatever you want. I didn't want the floral because I'm going to be putting some florals on here. So I did not know whether I wanted to have this with a big border or if I wanted to have this with a little border. And I'm still not going to make that decision right now. I am going to grab my silicone mat and we are going to adhere our pieces that I have die cut, or not die cut, fussy cut out of the paper. Now you could stamp and die cut the images, but I had just these little pieces left over from another project, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to use them. So what I want to do is figure this out. I think that's kind of the layout I'm going to go for. So I'm going to put this one on first, and then we'll go from there. Actually, I changed my mind. I'm going to put this one on first because it's the tallest. That should be in the center in my mind. And I'm just putting little wee dots of adhesive on here. Had I been smart, I would have used my adhesive sheets. And I'm just going to pop that right in the center, like so. Then that will allow me to build, oh, I kind of like that. I'm going to lift that up. Let me get a paper piercer. Before that sticks, I'm going to lift that up because I'm going to stick this one underneath, like so. So let's get some adhesive on here. And we'll just put, again, some little dots. Of our liquid glue. And I'm just going to slide that right in place like that. And then this guy will go over here. And I might do the same thing here, if I can. Maybe lift up that little leaf, and that way it will allow me to layer these closer. There we go. And I'm just going to pop that something like that. There we go. I'm happy with that. Now, I said we needed a greeting, and I haven't done one yet. I do not even know which greeting I'm going to use. Just bear with me for a second. to find a greeting here. All right. My mic back on here. I have go-to greetings, and I'm going to use the little tiny, maybe not, maybe thinking of you. Thinking of you. And I must have some scrap white here that I can stamp this on. And I am going to use, let's go Orchid Oasis maybe. Let's give it a whirl. I'm trying to match that color, and just by looks to me, that looks like Orchid Oasis. Moment of truth, is it straight? No, it is not. So we'll go to the other end and recalculate. Closer. Let's flip it and give it one more shot. No, I'm going to stick with what I have. I am going to stick with what I have. All right. Mini paper trimmer. And let's slice this. That one is crooked, so that's garbage. And this one, I got ink all over me, as well as glue. And we're gonna see if we can get this straight. Good enough. I think I'll take a little bit off each end though. I don't want it quite that long. And spin it around. There we go. There's our greeting. All right. I am going to get some mini dimensionals here somewhere. To put on the back of this little tag, because I want to put the greeting right across our flowers. It's amazing what you can do with free celebration paper. That makes me very happy. All right, so right across those stems, I'm going to stick that greeting. All right, let's get rid of all of this stuff. Bring in our card. And now it's decision time. Do we want just the little one, or do we want the substantial one? And I'm going to vote for the substantial one. I think the little one got a little lost. All right, glue on the back of this. And then some dimensionals, regular dimensionals. And I'm going to put 3 across here. And pop our focal image right in the middle. There we go. All right, now we're going to take this off, and I think that this little guy should just pretty up down there. I'm going to cut him off. And just give a little something something right there. What do you think? Might as well use it. Insides need to be pretty too. All right, I think that's plenty. Just pat that into place. Love it. All right. We only have one thing left to do, my friends, and that is a few little embellishments. So let's get rid of these dimensionals and see what embellishments we're going to use today. How about some butterflies? Brushed brass butterflies. I like these because they're nice and flat. How about we do a mama and a couple of babies? There we go. My friends, I think our surprise gatefold is done. Isn't that pretty? Bring that up closer to the camera so you can see it. The sparkly butterflies. And then we just slide off our belly band and ta-da! Surprise! That's it. I hope you enjoyed this card today. It is, as I said, this is not my design. This was taught to me by Anne-Marie Heil at a retreat on the weekend. And I thank her very much for that, because her showing me allowed me to show you. So thanks for stopping by today. And please leave a comment, like and share this video. It helps me out a lot if you do that. Thanks. Bye-bye.